Hi, this is stage 13 of the Greenbelt Relay. This is the race setting off from Thorndon Park one early Sunday morning. Stage 13 is a fairly short one, but it has a few twists and turns. Thorndon Park, we run, as you can see these people are doing, we run out of the park gates, and immediately after the gates we bear left onto a path. So that's this line that you can see here. That takes us parallel to the road, and then after a few hundred yards we cross Childerditch Lane, and then we just run along the pavement along Childerditch Lane and Eagle Way into Brentwood. Now at 0.85 miles we run past the Ford car factory and we turn left into this road called Clive Road on the pavement, and then we run to the end of that road and again turn left, so we're around the back of the factory now. And we're heading for the trees that you can now see ahead of you. That's Little Whalley Common. So you run with the wall to your left here, you then run onto this footpath here, and then once you're into the woods you bear left. There's a fork just coming up here. You can run to the right, but left is quicker and easier and you're less likely to get lost. So at the end of Little Whalley Common at 1.7 miles, that emerges, we're going right to left here, that emerges onto a road. You should see some marshals here are some of our recent ones, and then you run along Magpie Lane towards this farm here, and then you turn left into Bird Lane. You run down this lane, it's quite narrow, and then at 2.3 miles we're going to cross Whalley Road, which is quite a busy one. At this crossing here's some marshals at this one as well. So we do a little right and left into this road here, which is called Codham Hall Lane. Now Codham Hall Lane is about half a mile of nice, easy, straight, leafy running. At the end of it, the road bears left here, but we're going straight on through that gate that you can see ahead of you there. So we do that by running around to the right hand side of the gate, past that dodgy parked car there, through the gap in the fence there, and we're going to run right the way around the edge of this field. So we run all the way to the trees at the far end, we then turn left, we run all the way to the trees at the far end of that one. We do a sort of half left and then another little jink, slightly left and right, and then once you can see the farm buildings ahead of you, that means that you need to start looking out for a path off to the right which goes into a wood. So here it is here. So that goes through a wood. It then passes over a footbridge and turns left. And then we're going to run with this hedgerow to our left, ignoring a couple of tractor marks that go towards Codham Hall Farm straight on. That takes us into some woods, which then bears left and takes us over another footbridge, which is what you can see here, and that takes us on a quite narrow and nettly path to out of the woods at 3.6 miles, where we turn left. You can hear quite a lot of traffic to your right here, but we turn left. So we run up this road, we ignore two roads to our left that go into Codham Hall, and at 3.9 miles we cross this bridge over the motorway and down the other side parallel to the motorway. Now at the end of that we take this little footpath that's parallel to the tarmac, and at 4.3 miles, this is quite a critical bit, the footpath crosses this road here, and then that brings us parallel now to the M25. You go through those bollards there and now you're onto this footpath. This footpath runs under a huge pylon and parallel to the M25 for a few hundred yards, until at 4.85 miles, just before the railway, you can actually see the railway ahead of you there, we bear right and then cross the M25 through this tunnel that goes under the motorway, and then we run right the way into Cranham. You're not too far from the finish now, but we run all the way into Cranham parallel to the railway on your left. So at the end of this field, this is at 5 miles now, we run it into a footpath, which again, keeping parallel to the railway, that goes through some woods. Fork left there to keep parallel to the railway, goes through the woods. Once you're out of the woods, towards the end of the woods, we do bear right slightly, but this is the exit of the woods. There is only one way out. You shouldn't go wrong here. But there are a couple of paths which go off to the left towards the railway. We just go straight. So we're slightly bearing right here, but we're heading on the big wide marked path and then through this little footpath here, again still going the same direction, and that takes us 5.5 miles onto the narrow footpath onto a residential road called Nightingale Lane. So this is where we come out onto the residential path. Should have some marshals here too. Past that dodgy parked car there, and then we run to the end of Nightingale Lane and turn left into Moor Lane. At the end of Moor Lane we get to some shops. 5.8 miles we turn left at those shops into Front Lane. Front Lane is going to take us over the railway at last, and next to another railway, and we turn left here, and this is the road into the finish. So this is St Mary's Lane. That takes us into the finish, and this is the finish from one of our recent races. So that's the end of stage 13. I hope you enjoyed that, and good luck.